Hello, I'm Miss Carol from the Grand Ledge Area District Library. Today I have some books for kids on women's suffrage. Suffrage means the right to vote. Did you know this year is the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which allowed women in the United States to vote? Our first book might look a bit familiar to those of you who read the What Is, What Was series. This one's What Is the Women's Rights Movement, written by Deborah Tompkinson. Much like the Who Was series, it has plenty of pictures, much like these. It's written at a nice, easy reading level about the women's rights movement in the United States from the beginning up to the modern day. It talks about women's rights leaders like Mary Church Tyrrell, Alice Paul, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. And it goes up through the 19th Amendment. It talks about some of the more recent challenges to suffrage. It even covers a little bit about the Title IX in sports. So if you like the Who Was, Who Is series, you might like What Is the Women's Rights Movement. My next one is a little longer. Give Us the Vote, Over 200 Years of Fighting for the Ballot. This covers more than just women's suffrage. It covers 200 years worth of people fighting for, being arrested for, protesting for, and yes, even dying for the right to vote in the United States. It covers the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement, the efforts for the Native Americans to be able to vote, Asian Americans to be able to vote, women, African Americans. It even covers things like gerrymandering and some of the more recent attempts at voter suppression. So if you'd like a nice, well-researched book on efforts to promote voting in the United States, try Give Us the Vote. Next one I have is a picture book, Canilla Can Vote, by Mary Morgan Ketchell with Senator Marsha Blackburn. This one, Camilla and her class are on a field trip to the local history museum. They're there to look at the new display on women's history. Their guide takes them around the area and tells them about the efforts of women in the United States to vote. White women and men who wore yellow roses supported the right to vote. Those who wore red roses were anti-suffrage for women. When Camilla is given a yellow rose pin commemorating the right to vote, she finds herself whisked back to 1920, Tennessee, where that's the last state to vote to decide whether they'll ratify the 19th Amendment. Camilla joins the women in Tennessee marching to the courthouse to cheer when they hear that Tennessee has agreed to ratify the amendment. So Camilla gets a first-hand look at history. And the last one I have for you today is a picture book biography, The Voice That Won the Vote, How One Woman's Words Made History, written by Eliza Boxer and illustrated by Vivian Mendenberger. This one is about Senator Harry Byrne from Tennessee, who turned out to be the deciding vote. He had previously voted no in the first vote in Tennessee against women's suffrage, but then he read a letter from his mother, who urged him to think of his mother and to remember women and vote yes. And so he changed his vote, and with that, Tennessee became the final state needed to ratify the 19th Amendment. So if you're looking to learn a bit about women's suffrage, we have all of these books at the Grand Ledge Area District Library and many more. Thank you.